Meanwhile, on earth, the Pandavas and Draupadi, all five of them are missing Arjuna desperately. They can't live in the same place and they move forest after forest until one day they meet Devarshi Narada, who happened to be in the forest they went to. One thing leads to another, and they're all talking about how to attain punya and how to use that to attain moksha. Narada says, for the kings and the rich people, this is a simple affair. They just have to perform a yagna or a sacrifice. But for the commoners, for the poor people who can't afford to perform a yagna, a situation that you find yourself in, one other way of attaining punya is Tirtha Yatra. Now, Tirtha can mean two things. One, it is a holy place, or two, it is a body of water. The Tirtha in this context means a holy pilgrimage, which typically also happens to be around a body of water like river or a pond. When asked, Narada informs that to perform a Tirtha Yatra, which is consecutively visit sacred places of pilgrimage, one has to follow a certain direction, also known as Pradakshina. What the word literally means is not just about going in a circular fashion, but moving in such a way that the Dakshina or the south is always in the eyesight. Therefore, one starts from the south, moves towards the west, then the north, then to east, and then comes back to south, thereby completing one full circle around the center of the earth. Now, Narada takes his own sweet time telling the stories of all the Tirtha Yatras possible, all the important holy places possible. This parva is about 2000 shlokas long, and of that, about 1000 shlokas are the Sthala Mahima or the importance of the pilgrimage place that is being described. Along with the details of the place itself is also enumerated here the list of all the different kinds of punya that one would attain when they visit such a place. It is discussed that going to one place is equivalent to donating 1000 cows to a deserving brahmana. Another place is equal to performing 10 Ashwamedha yagnas. A third place will ensure that all the papa of even the ancestors are wiped out. Another one, if you go there, you will never have to perform the Pitra Karya or the Shraddha of your family members ever again, because doing it there is enough. And so on the list goes. After having detailed this list, which almost acts like a geography lesson if you think about it, Narada leaves. And Yudhishthira turns to Dhaumya and asks him to talk about the places in the south because Narada seemed to have missed some important place. Now, Dhaumya goes on a long list of pilgrimage as well, and once he is done, almost on the dot of him finishing his last name, Lomasha comes. Remember Lomasha? The one that Lord Indra had asked to go and meet the Pandavas? He comes to inform about Arjuna and how he is living happily in Swarga and is attaining great astras and preparing himself for the war that is to come, not to worry about Arjuna and all of that. Here also is finally enumerated the story of the Nivata Kavachas, the Asura demon Daitya beings that Arjuna had slain, taking the help of Indra's chariot and all the divine weapons as a test. This detailed battle between Arjuna and the villains will end with Lomasha once again reassuring the Pandavas that their brother is fine and they should not worry about him. And in this long chapter, containing references to obscure, almost forgotten places, is also a very important other story. Draupadi one day smells some flowers and is enchanted by them. These are the Saugandhika flowers. And she just expresses a soft interest in it, does not specifically request for it, but says, oh, if only I could attain those flowers. And her slightest wish is almost like a duty for Bhima to fulfill. So Bhima sets out, and along the way, ends up fighting Gandharvas and Rakshasas and Yakshas, and finally reaches the Gandhamadana Parvata. And from there, having a conversation with Kubera, finds the Saugandhika flowers, the blue lotus. Along the way, he also meets an old monkey whose tail seems to be obstructing the path that Bhima is walking on. And Bhima is now insolent with rage and success. He has defeated so many people and he shouts at the monkey and says, "Move your tail out of the way." The monkey lifts its head up and says, "I am an old being. I can't move. Why don't you pick the tail and put it on the side?" Now, Bhima could easily have walked over it, jumped over it, walked around it, but he was so insolent with his pride that he decided that he would pick up the whole monkey itself by its tail and swing and throw it away. And as he puts his hand to the tail, he realizes that he is barely able to budge the tail of that monkey. Embarrassed, he tries again and is still not able to move a single hair from the tail of that monkey. The monkey is smiling. He looks up at Bhima and says, "What happened? I thought you were a strong person. You can't even lift a tail?" And in a moment, Bhima realizes that this is no ordinary monkey. He asks it, "Who are you?" And the monkey responds, "I happen to share a father with you, Bhima. I am Hanuman, the devotee of Rama, the destroyer of Lanka's Ashoka Vatika, and an immortal monkey that roams around the world protecting people who are good and punishing those who are bad." Bhima says, "I want to see you in your original form, the form that you took when you expanded your body and jumped across the ocean." Hanuman says, "You will not be able to look at me. Your eyes cannot handle it." And Bhima says, "If that's the last thing I see and I die, that will still be worth it. Show me who you are, O Lord." And Hanuman finally shows him his full form. And Bhima is stuck with wonder. When Hanuman comes back to the normal human size, they both realize that they are, in a way, brothers because their father is the god Vayu. So they embrace each other. Bhima says, "We need your help, O Hanuman, when we fight the battle." And Hanuman promises him that I will sit on the flag of Arjuna's chariot and I will scream and I will make loud noises that will scare the people in the battle. And from that day, Arjuna's chariot has had a flag with Hanuman. Now, there's a small inconsistency here in that when Arjuna got the chariot from Varuna during the Khandava Vanadahana episode, it was already described that it had a flag with a monkey on it, and that from that day onwards, Arjuna was known as Kapidhwaja. But this story enhances that story further. Or maybe it was just a regular monkey on that flag and now Hanuman replaces that monkey. Either ways, Arjuna is not called Kapidhwaja because of this. He has been known as Kapidhwaja sooner than this. So that's the story of Tirtha Yatra Parva, the longest and the most elaborate list of places ever made presented in Mahabharata. If you watch out, once again, this same list with a few more additions to it will be presented, but that's a story for another day. Now you must remember that the Mahabharata story is told by Lomaharshana to a group of ascetics sitting around in a forest. But he is telling a story that has already been recited by Vaishampayana to Janmejaya. So already we are 2 levels deep into the he said and then he said. I found this very interesting because when Narada is telling the list of all the pilgrimages, he is actually giving you a list as told by Muni Pulatsya to Bhishma. So basically, Lomaharshana told the group that Vaishampayana told Janmejaya, that Narada told Yudhishthira, that Pulatsya told Bhishma that this is the list of pilgrimages and here it is. I could not obviously memorize all of these, so here it is. The list of pilgrimages in Tirtha Yatra Parva are Pushkara, Prabhasa, Dvaravati, Vinasana, Rudrakoti, Kurukshetra, Mrigadhuma, Naimisha, Saptasaraswata, Prithudaka, Samnihiti, Shakambari, Suvarnaksha, Varanasi, Gaya, Shalagrama, Rishabha, Gokarna, Prayaga, Gandhamadana, Kailasa. This is still a very small list, by the way. The list is much longer. Some of these places are obscure, some of these are well known, but there it is, Tirtha Yatra list for you should you ever want to start from the south and make a full circle of Bharatavarsha.